Hi, Dr. Martin. I'm Olivia Allison. Please forgive me. I'm really stuffy today. My allergies are acting up. And if you see me occasionally look down, I'm just following the prompt, and I have my points that I just want to make sure I cover. The dispositions that I possess that will make me a successful teacher are the fact that I'm a positive influencer. Positive influence is something that I pride myself on. It's important to encourage students that they can be who they want to be. They can achieve everything and anything that they set their mind to, despite maybe their circumstances, their learning abilities, or things like that. I'm also really, really observant. I pay attention to how students interact with each other, how they interact with me, what they wear, what they listen to, how they're feeling. I can usually catch on to any behavioral changes that happen within the classroom, especially if I've developed a rapport with that student. So just being mindful of who's walking into my classroom and what do they need in those moments. And lastly, just my ability and my capacity to build relationships. It's important that as an educator that I am compassionate and that I am empathetic and understanding, because these guys are going to come from all walks of life. And I am responsible for educating all of them, regardless of the level and the skill set they may be at or not. So I have to make sure that I'm continuously building relationships with them by getting to know them. Students will follow you as long as you are kind and there's somebody that they believe in and there's somebody that they feel that they can trust. Once you've gained their trust and you accept them and you're kind, they will follow you anywhere, even into what I like to call this pit of unknown. In education, there's always this pit of uncertainty that we have to go into, because that's what learning is. We're learning something that we don't know. So when the students are able to trust you into that area of uncertainty, they will trust you to lead them down and to bring them back up. So that's a really key thing with building relationships, is just building that trust with them. Of course, there are the dispositions that I definitely need to work on, such as organization and time management. I'm not the most organized person all the time. I am a creative thinker and I'll have millions and millions of ideas, but sometimes executing them is not always my strong suit. So I try to do things like have a planner. I have a planner for just about everything that I do, just to keep me organized and to write important things down. Also, having a calendar really helps me, being able to visually see what's coming up, deadlines, things that I need to do. And that also helps me with time management. I was told that, we don't manage time manages us. We all have 24 hours in a day, and we are responsible for what we choose to do with those 24 hours. So making sure that during my instruction time, sometimes there doesn't need to be consistent structure throughout the day. Students do need those opportunities to be creative and to think freely and to problem solve, and even to just engage with their classmates, allowing times for breaks or, pauses to gather and have conversation. Like we talked about in the previous discussion, about, our schools killing creativity for students. So I definitely think there doesn't need to be structure all throughout the day, but just making sure that I'm not overwhelming students with too much information, or I'm not allowing too much free time to take place. So there definitely needs to be a balance. Lastly, so follow through. I'm not always the best with follow through. So I just want to make sure that everything that I say that I'm going to do, I will do. And how I plan to implement that is just through things like calendar reminders, utilizing my planner, and also having some accountability partners throughout the school, whether it's like a small, group of teachers that are teaching the same grade as I am, holding each other accountable to deadlines that need to happen. Also things like having weekly meetings, check-ins, those sorts of things that can help me to stay on track and remind myself, hey, I have this that I need to finish. I need to make sure I get it done and follow through to the very end. So when it comes to my dispositions and my ability to demonstrate my understanding for that through things like culture and gender and ethnicity, I try to keep my identity in the forefront for students, such as, me being a woman of color. I want students to see who I am when they first meet me, and I want them to be inspired to be who they are and be confident in that, but as well as ask questions, and to engage with other students or be open to things that are different. I feel that me being a woman of color, I may not be able to identify with everyone, but I know what it's like to come up against various shortcomings and to experience, unfortunately, experience being mistreated because of what I look like, the color of my skin or the way that my hair is or being a woman and all those other things that come with my walk of life. So I'm very big on, regardless of who you are, what you look like, everybody has a story and we all have things that we're going through. So I want to open conversation for students, to be able to talk about those things, but also to show them, like, I understand what this feels like. I understand what it feels like to be followed around the store or to be bullied or to be judged, those kinds of things. So definitely talking about my experiences, bringing them into the forefront, just so that it makes students comfortable with who they are. And then also gives them someone to be relatable to. Sometimes representation is so key. Students want to see themselves in others. That's a big motivational piece for them. It doesn't necessarily mean that they need to be in my classroom, but if they see me in the halls, I want them to be able to say, hey, I see myself in Miss Allison. So just my experiences alone with overcoming bullying and just battling various forms of racism and just different things that come with being who I am, I want to vocalize and talk about so that it encourages students to want to talk about those things too. So when it comes to utilizing the feedback that I will receive from my annual performance review and through observations and things like that, I definitely want to implement all of the feedback given into my dance room when I'm teaching my dance students, and as well as in the schools when I'm out sub-teaching. I feel like both of those places will allow me to practice and perfect those skills so that when I do go full-time in teaching, I feel more confident in how I'm doing instruction and building relationships and impacting students versus just coming out of student teaching and then jumping straight, full-time headfirst into teaching. It's important to practice as much as you can, because education is so unpredictable. I mean, every day is different. So it'll be important for me to practice those in my day-to-day jobs where I'm working with youth. And it'll just give me the adequate amount of experience that I will need when I go full-time into teaching. I want to say thank you so far. The class is amazing. And thank you for your feedback. It is extremely helpful. I hope that you have a great rest of your day.